everyone, this is Ida of Created to Create. Welcome back to my messy countertop. This is part 3 of the process video for the Memoirs typewriter. And I actually had, I embellished it some off camera, but I will share with you what I did at the end. I will share everything with you in just a project share video, but for now let's go ahead and finish this up. So I was telling you in the previous video that the tubes, to make sure you don't use thick paper cardstock, because then the barrels, the little pedestals, will be too fat around, too thick around. The diameter will be too thick. And these are the little letters and numbers are about a quarter of an inch, maybe a little bit more. So you want to keep them really tight. And the back row has 10, and then the row that's in front of the back row, that one also gets 10. And then the third row from the back has 10 as well. The last row here in front has only 9, and you stagger them in between the previous row. So that's how you do that. You can look at your computer keys, or you can look at your phone keys when you text. That way you can know where they go. You can also write something if you want, because they're embossed, so you could actually do a message if you wanted to. I just kind of put them all the way they're supposed to go. In my previous video, I also shared that I didn't leave myself enough room for the space bar. So make sure that you watch the video from the beginning to the end. If you purchase the Memoirs typewriter and you want to put it together, make sure you watch it from the beginning to the end. That way you guys don't make the mistakes that I make, because I don't edit anything out. So you'll be able to see what mistakes I made, and that way you won't make those mistakes. So I already put all my keys in place, and I had already cut out my the keys. And what it does, it embosses, but it cuts out the circle. So it embosses the letter or number, and then it cuts out the circle. And those, you just put them the way they're supposed to, or if you want to do a private message, a message. For the top, we had already completed the top. I'm going to take this off. The only thing I did to the top, I shared it on my previous video. I added this border with the Anna Griffin border dies, and I fussy cut the gold piece in the back just in this area, because it had the open work, but because of the pattern on the paper, the red was kind of getting lost, and I wanted it to stand out. So I backed it with some Anna Griffin matte gold foil paper, and then I just fussy cut around it. I'm not real good at fussy cutting, but it doesn't look bad. And then for the top piece, I cut it out of foam, and I used an Anna Griffin paper, and I embossed it this time, because to me, I want this typewriter to look very regal. And so it gave me it was like a quarter of an inch thick, because that foam's pretty thick, and it gave me an opportunity to use this beautiful cording that I've had in my stash for a long time. I think it probably came in a Goodwill ribbon bag or something, but it's this one. So it's pretty thick, and it was the perfect width, thickness to go around this border and the front and the back of the typewriter. So that's all I did here. That's the only thing I did different. So I did add this on foam, and then the next one, I cut it out of that thick foam and layered it there. I'm going to remove the lid so you can see where I also use the cording. So I added the cording in between the gap of the foam and the paper, and it looks stunning, you guys. So there it is. This is an Anna Griffin sentiment as well. And there's really no wrong way to do this, because this font, and I can see I probably needed to move up a little bit, but this font kind of curls. So even if it's crooked like mine, you won't be able to tell it because of the way it's aligned, the way it curves. And now I can see that mine, no, not really. You can't tell because it curves. There's no straight line. So it doesn't matter how you put it on there. It's not going to look crooked. And again, I did leave mine white on the inside. After I had added the cording to the front and the back, see, I added it in the back as well. I added a little strip, very narrow strip of designer paper, just kind of to clean this up and cut. Well, it wasn't really messy or anything because I cut it with a die, so it's pretty sharp cuts. But I wanted to cover that white, that stark white that was there. I'm going to have to use my heat tool as well to get some of the hot glue off because I did add the cording with hot glue. And then in the back, look at that, you guys. I added my poinsettia corner pocket with the poinsettia flower that goes with it. So I added it there so I can, if I'm going to gift this or whatever I'm going to do, it gives me a spot to add a little note and tuck it in there, or some tags, or I just don't know what I'm going to do yet. But that's what I did with mine. That's how I decorated it. It's stunning, you guys. So now we're going to complete that roll piece that goes on top, and I did show you how to do those rolls, but I left mine undone so I can share with you how I'm going to fix mine. And I'm gonna move this, find a spot for it somewhere on the floor, because I don't have a lot of counter space. That way we can put that together. So I already have, I had mine cut out before. I had shared it with y'all. And here are my end caps that I showed you how to put together. Now for this particular one, I want, if you have difficulty lining it up straight, close it as far as you want to do it. It depends. Like me, I want this to be a cap. So I want to be able to put it on and off. So I need to close it more, because it's not going to go on the outside. It's going to go on the inside. So give yourself a line. That way you can line up perfectly. I gave myself more because I'm going to add a layer of designer paper. And I'm hoping this works out for me. If not, then I will start from scratch all over again. But you guys will get the gist of it. So I'm just going to go ahead and add glue right up to that line that I gave myself for placement. And when I go to curve my paper, when I go to curve my paper, I mist it with water. That way, this is difficult to do. There. So try and line up where you're right on your mark that you gave yourself on both ends. So that will give you a straight roll. Your roll will be straight. So now I'm going to use my bone folder and hopefully get in here and make sure it's all glued down. So yeah, so there it is, glued in place. And now I'm going to add the decorative piece, but I'm going to show you how this is too big. It's too big to go on here. One end I'm only going to one end I'm going to glue down, and one end is I'm going to leave it as a cap. So this is already done. I already cut my piece of paper, designer paper out, and I'm going to mist it with a little bit of bottled water because I'm going to curve it. And not too much, but you do want to mist it so you can curve it. I'll take my small glue bottle and start just rolling it. Maybe if you had a skinny rolling pin, or if you had maybe a thick dowel rod or something like that, just use whatever you have to help you shape it. That way you don't get cracks in your paper. So that's all I'm using it for that. Now I like to cover the seam. So I'm going to start past the seam and I'm going to wrap it around so the seams are not going to be together, because I don't like for the seams to show. So I'm going to start here, and hopefully my paper will be straight. And I'm just going to cover this roll, taking my time to make sure I have plenty of glue down. You want it nice and snug. Make sure your paper doesn't shift on you. Looks like mine is. If it's not straight, you're going to have problems with your, you're going to see the edge here. But I see where I started, I did leave myself an edge. So that's okay, because remember, one of the caps is going to be glued on. So I'm going to continue with the glue until I close it all the way up. And I'm going to add glue to this last portion, and it is going to overlap. But I did that on purpose, so I cut this one a little bit longer because I do want it to overlap. Gives it more strength. So I'm just going to hold it in place. Now for my original typewriter, the first one I made, I used the Tim Holtz tube that comes with that real thin paper. I don't know what it's called. This paper from Tim Holtz. This comes in a plastic tube that is the perfect size for the typewriters. And that's what I used for the two that I created. I created one for my friend Jacqueline and one for myself. And that's what I used. Let me see, make sure this is adhered down. And you are going to get a flat side if you didn't use anything round. I kind of feel like mine didn't close right. So make sure that you don't have any gaps around. Like mine was puckered right there. It wasn't really, and I could tell it was off. So there is the tube. I'm hoping that this is going to work the way I wanted to. Yep, that's kind of snug right there. I could have done it a little bit bigger where it would be more snug, but I want to make sure that this cap has plenty of room to be put on and off. So this one I'm going to glue in place. So I'm just going to go ahead and add glue to the tube all the way around, and I'm going to put it in there and just let it be glued down. I still feel like it's not, like there's too much room. Yeah. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to add glue to this edge. I made my roll on mine too skinny. It was too tight. I don't know if I want to do that, you guys. Yeah, I don't think I can take it off. I better do that. I'll see. If I'm not satisfied, I'll do another one off camera. This one is more just to show you the process of it. So I'm just putting on the edge and around the perimeter of the tube. You can use hot glue if you'd like. And I'm going to put the cap in place. And hopefully that will stay. For the opposite side, that one I'm not going to glue in place. I'm going to just leave it like that. It's just going to be a cap. And I'm going to cut myself a little strip, or I'm going to find a strip that I already have. And I'm going to add a strip around, you know, to make that cap pretty. So let's do that. I think I have some already cut out from scraps that I was using. So let me find something. Let me find something here. Do I want red? No, I'm going to cut myself a fresh strip. And I think I'm going to do gold. So let's do gold. Let me grab a piece of paper. Do I want gold? I don't think I want gold, you guys. I think I want something else. Let me see what I can find. Oh yeah, I got something. I have this right here. This little piece. Let's see. Oh, that's too skinny. And that one is too wide. I cut out some stuff from there, so I had those pieces left over. Okay, I'm going to use this frame right here, and I think this will look pretty. Not as pretty as the gold. So you know what? I'm going to cut myself a couple of strips that measure, I don't know, let's measure this. It's about 3/8 of an inch. So I'm going to cut a strip that measures 3/8 of an inch. I'm going to cut a couple of them. I'm going to turn it this way so I don't blind you. Ah, it's hard to do on this side. It's going to have to be. So it's 3/8 of an inch. I think that's about a 1/2 an inch. That's about right. Yeah, they look about the same. And this is the little strip that I'm going to glue right along this edge. And you know what? I can actually squeeze it and make it tighter if I needed to, but I don't really need to because I added glue to the edge. But preferably you want to make your tube just a little bit thicker around, that way it's snug. So again, I'm just going to add glue to the portion that the cap that I glued on. And I'm going to glue the strip. Oh, guys, I did a boo-boo. I did a boo-boo. Let me see if I can pull it off. Not the strip, but I might be able to take it off. Yay. I did a boo-boo, and I'm going to tell you why. I didn't put the knob in. So this one, because it's getting glued on, you're going to have to cut another of the circles that go in the back, at the ends, I'm sorry, because we're going to glue that one on and it's not going to come off. And I'm going to add my let me move this out of the way. I'm going to add my designer paper there, so I'm just going to choose anything. It doesn't matter what it is. I'm just going to find me a scrap and cut it out of a scrap. So I'm just going to cut it out of this pretty metallic gold so it will match. And I'm going to need 2 of those, one for each side. So there's one. Let me cut the next one. There we go. I'm trying to do this video quick so I don't take up too much of your time, but it is very difficult to do it fast because I'm so undecisive when it comes to what colors I want to use. Which one was the one that was glued on? The dirtier one, this one. So we're going to take the cap, it does have a hole here, and we're going to add glue, and we're going to glue it to the end. Just kind of to clean that up, and you know, so it'll be pretty. Just line up the hole in the center, make sure it's lined up perfectly. I'm going to turn it upside down, and that gives it more reinforcement as well. And I'm going to use these Tim Holtz knobs. And I'm going to go ahead and put it in there because this one is going to be glued on. So that's the purpose of the hole, that you will be able to add your knob in there and then just screw it on. If you're using a knob that has a screw in it. Now you could make it pretty on the inside, but this is going to be way in there. Nobody's going to be able to tell, so it's really not necessary. It feels kind of loose, like the screw's not going all the way in. Let's see if I can get it in there nice and snug. Yeah. Yep. See, there's the knob. That is the purpose of that. So let's add glue to the inside of the cap, right there around that that corner where it folds, and also on the sides. And this is going to be glued in place. And let's try that again. So there it is. Look at that, you guys. So there it is, and I'm going to go ahead and glue the strip now. Gorgeous. Now I can go ahead and glue this down. Let me add glue all the way around, and then I'll trim it off. Because I didn't measure or anything. I just kind of cut a strip and I'm just going to trim it off right here and add glue and glue it down. Like this is the last portion of that typewriter. Oh, that's pretty. I like that. So for the other end, we're not going to glue it. We're just going to take that. We're going to add the strip that we cut for it. We're also going to glue the end cap, just like we did the other one. And we're going to insert the knob. Now, I might go back with this one because this is going to be used more, and add some more layers, the circles on the inside, just make it a little bit more sturdy. See, that's all we got to do. Here's my other one. Now this one you could finish it off and everything if you wanted to, because this is the one that's going to open, but you don't have to. I might go back and do it. This is just for the sake of teaching you how to put it together, and because it's screwed on, I can always take it off, add more layers, add designer paper, and then I can, you know, finish it off better. It's not as tight as I want it to be. Yeah, I'm going to have to add more layers because that other one tightened, but this one is still kind of loose, see? So I'm going to want to add layers to the inside of this, but for now this is fine. I'm just showing you how you're going to do it. Look at that, you guys. So now I have to glue the strip that goes here, and I'm going to do that if I can find my strip. Here it is. So we're going to go ahead and glue the strip down. And then we're going to make the cradle to it. The cradle that's going to hold the roll. So I hope you can see what I'm doing. All I'm doing is adding the trim around it. And like I said, I am going to go back afterwards after the video, and I am going to reinforce the inside to make it sturdier, because this is the one that's going to be used. The other one will stay in place, so you won't be able to remove it. But this one you're going to use, because the purpose of this tube, or for me, is like if I'm putting in a card set, I want to put in like a gold pen or a silver pen, one of those pens that when you write, they're so pretty, the metallic ones. And I want to have a place for it where the recipient will have their pen whenever they go to send out a card. See, this wobbles because it's not tight enough. So I definitely need to add a couple more layers. The other one, I didn't have any trouble. The other one went on there real tight, but this one, it's not doing it for me. So I am going to have to add at least one more. So there it is. You know what? The more I add layers, the snugger it's getting, so that's good. But you don't want to tear it either. There you go. So there is the top portion to my typewriter. And to this is what I chose to go here. What you're going to do here is, I usually look for the bottom of my typewriter. I center this. I'm not going to glue mine on yet because I'm still going to reinforce. And I glue it right there on the line. And I just add a little bit of glue right here, only as far as I want it to turn. Like, I don't want it to curve all the way around the tube, just a little bit. And as a matter of fact, I am going to go ahead and glue it down. That way you guys have a better idea of what I'm talking about. And you want to add the glue to the back of your card. And this is from the Kirigami dies, the Christmas ones. And I chose this one because I thought it was really, really pretty and it coordinated well with what I was doing. So I'm just going to, right here on the line, and I'm going to center it as best as possible. I'm not the best at centering. I'm actually pretty bad at it. Oh, that looks okay. Yeah, I'm going to have to add another thing there to make it sturdy. And then I'm going to add a little bit more glue here because I want it to stay in place. So I'm going to curve it just a little bit more. Not too much. Not too much, just a little. Just a little bit. Now, if you created the tube and you don't want to create another one and your lid is too loose, you can actually just add another strip of paper there, glue it down, and that'll give you that snugness that you need. We don't need it over here because it's glued, but on the one that's coming on and off, you are going to need it there. So that's probably what I'm going to do because I don't think I'm going to make another one. So there's that. And I did have a sentiment already picked out, and I'm going to put it on here, and it says Peace on Earth, and I am going to add some foam tape to it. This is like extra tacky glue, foam tape, and it's thicker. It's pretty thick. And I am going to add glue because I want it to like give me a chance to center it where I want it. So this one says Merry Christmas to you, but because I use a nativity scene, oh, maybe not there. Pretty good. So I decided to go with Peace on Earth. Because y'all know that's what the angels were saying, right, to the shepherd. Look at that. Is that gorgeous or what? So let's create the cradle for this. For this one, you're going to need to cut 2 pieces of this one right here. So I cut it out I cut 2 pieces in the white off-white, and then I cut it again in the Anna Griffin red foil, and I embossed it, but I cut off the tabs because I'm not going to need the tabs. I just wanted a decorative layer. So this, you're just going to add glue to your tabs. Make sure you fold them, you burnish them, because this is what's going to hold that roll. Like, we're almost done, guys. This is pretty much it, and I will come back and share it with you completely done and explain to you just a little bit better. But I just wanted to have this video out for those of you who did buy it. That way you don't have to wait. You can go ahead and put it together because the tutorial is already done. So you're just going to connect it from tab to tab. And we're going to connect this one right here. I'm going to hold it there for a second. And with this one, if you want, you can cut you a little strip of paper to kind of help you square this. But you don't have to. But it will help you. So this one goes like this. Make sure these are nice and bent. So make sure you burnish this because this is going to sit flush. And it's going to hold. See, I add a little strip of paper in there. I'll be able to square it up better, but I don't have to. It's not necessary. And the dip right here, these 2 divots right there, that's where the roll is going to sit. That will hold your roll. So right there, that's how that goes. This is going to get glued to the top of the typewriter. So I'm just going to set mine aside. I'm going to get my typewriter back up. My counter is so messy, you guys, from the ink and glue and everything that I have been working with. So I'm just going to get the lid because that's all we need. And we're going to glue this piece in place. You know what? I think I'm going to cut me a little strip because the opening here is right above here, and I wanted to have something to grab onto. So I'm going to go ahead and just cut me a little strip that measures, I don't know, about 3/4 of an inch by 5. So a 3 by 5 piece. This might be plenty big. And if you cut it straight, that helps you. And it's probably shorter than 5. Let's see. I gotta cut off a little piece. So I'm gonna add glue to this and just glue it to the inside of this little cradle. That way I have something to add glue when I set it up here. That's all you want to have. Just that little piece. 1, it helps you square it. 2, it'll give you a place to add glue to your project. I am so sorry, you guys, but my dogs don't like anybody. Not even my own children. He's probably barking at one of my kids. So this cradle is going to go up here. You can put it as far to the back that you want or to the front. I'm going to put it more towards the back because I want this to be visible. And I'm hoping that this will glue because of I'm hoping it'll stay down because of the, you know, when we're gluing something to, me turn it the other way. When we're gluing something to lost my train of thought. When we're gluing something to foil paper is what I was trying to say. Sometimes it will grab and sometimes it just won't. So I centered it here. And all I'm going to do now, you can add pieces of foam or paper, whatever you want in here. And I am going to do that to mine afterwards. But I will come back and share it with you already finished. Yeah, mine's moving, so it's not grabbing. Not yet. Might need to turn on my hot glue gun. That should be okay. So let me get this. Now I am going to go back and complete it. This is just for the sake of the video. But when you guys are creating yours, you can take your time and do it right. Me, because I'm rushing trying to get it done before my phone cuts off, because it tends to do that. But you won't have that issue when you're creating it at home, because you're not going to be recording, or I don't think you are. But if you are, hey, that's good too. So right here, and then I'm going to turn this however far I want the paper to lean. That's how I'm going to turn it. But I'm going to hold it there. It's big, guys. Look at that. So you guys can see. How gorgeous is that? So that is it for this video, you guys. I'm going to come back and explain things a little bit at a slower pace, everything that I did. That way, in case you didn't understand, if you have any questions, leave a comment. I normally go on there, check, and if there's any questions, I will answer it. And when I come back and share it, I'm gonna have my flowers and all the embellishments and everything. But pretty much this was just the process video. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for those of you who picked this die up, and I hope everyone has a great day. Bye.